Question number 72. With reference to central bank digital currencies, consider the following statements. Before getting into the statements, let us understand what central bank digital currency is all about. Central bank digital currencies are digital versions of fiat currency issued by any central bank. In fact, the Reserve Bank of India has issued recently India's own central bank digital currency, which is e-rupee. These central bank digital currencies share all the features of a physical currency, but they have some added advantages owing to their design. Central bank digital currencies are also known as programmable currencies because they can be programmed to add some new features into them. Features like end use restrictions and time limit before which they should be spent. What is this feature, end use restriction? Any central bank digital currency can be programmed so that it can be used only in specific contexts. And why do we need that feature? Let us understand through an example. The government has been providing various types of subsidies through DBT mechanism. In this mechanism, subsidies are given in the form of cash, which is credited directly to the bank account of the beneficiary. However, one of the biggest concerns of providing subsidies through DBT mechanism is diversion of the funds for non-intended purposes. So, if subsidies are given in the form of CBDC with end-use restrictions, then the beneficiary will be forced to use the subsidy amount only for the intended purpose for which it was given. Let's take an example. If government is providing fertilizer subsidies to the farmers through CBDC with end-use restriction, so that they will be forced to use the CBDCs only in certain agriculture input outlets like fertilizer outlets. This will prevent the issue of diversion of subsidy amount for non-intended purposes. The other feature is time limit or having an expiry date before which the central bank digital currency is supposed to be spent. Why do we need time limit? Let us understand through a case study. Let us assume that an economy is going through a recession or going through some uncertainties, like in the case of COVID. In such situations, consumers tend to save the money instead of spending in the market. This will further reduce the demand. So, to encourage the consumers to spend, RBI reduces the interest rates. However, with too much of uncertainty in the market, consumers are less inclined to spend in the market. It makes any monetary policy action of the RBI ineffective. In such cases, if CBDCs are introduced with a time limit, they will be forced to spend within a time limit, thus encouraging aggregate demand in the economy, thus ensuring an efficient monetary policy transmission in the economy. So these are the few applications of CBDC. Look at the second statement. A digital currency can be distributed with a condition programmed into it, such as a time frame for spending it. The second statement is correct. Let us discuss another advantage of CBDC. This is with respect to cross-border transactions. Normally, with respect to fiat currency cross-border transactions, it involves some cost and time to it. It has to go through a mechanism called SWIFT. SWIFT is a messaging platform which records each and every cross-border transaction that is undertaken between two countries. Of course, it involves some time, and some kinds of exports and imports, or some export and import transactions are undertaken through a third-party currency like US dollar. Why? Since US dollar is a reserve currency, most of the exports and imports are made through dollar. But such kind of transaction involves currency exchange risk to both the transacted parties. Thus, normal fiat currency cross-border transactions involve some time and cost to it. To overcome this challenge, a common CBDC which is established through collaboration between 3 or 4 central banks can be used. There is an example to it. Mbridge mBridge is a multiple CBDC or a common CBDC established by the central banks of 4 countries or 4 economies: China, Hong Kong, UAE, and Thailand. This enabled them to undertake cross-border transactions without involving any SWIFT mechanism or any currency exchange risk. So, yes, it is possible to make payments. Here the payments refers to cross-border payments. It is possible to make payments in a digital currency without using US dollar or SWIFT system. This statement is also correct. So the answer is C, both 1 and 2.